welcome. If you are looking to create an automated form for data entry, you're in the right place. Stick around and let's dive in. Start with by creating a header of our form. You can extend either a single row or merge multiple rows to create a space for the header. Now let's add up a company name. We'll format it, bump up the size, align it, and bold it so it stands out. You can even add a logo if you have one. I found a random logo online which I'll insert. There are two options, place in cell, which keeps the image within one cell, or place over cells, which lets the image sits over multiple cells, so later you can resize it. So we'll go with the latter option and resize it to fit the header. There are plenty of ways to format this section. Add a shape, change the color, whatever fits your style. For now, I'm just sticking with a simple blue background. Next, let's move on to the form content. We'll add some basic details like first name, last name, title, entry time, and some checkboxes for options like sandwich and drinks, plus a field for dietary restrictions. You can format these fields, align them, resize the columns, and make sure everything looks neat. You can also create input fields, gray out them slightly so they stand out, and apply consistent formatting across all fields. Let's not forget to add borders to clarity, which I forgot in the earlier formatting. For the entry time field, we'll add buttons. For that, you need to have your developer tab activated. If it is not available, you need to just right click on the ribbon button, go to customize ribbon, and check the developer option. If it is unchecked, just check it and it will appear on your menu tabs. Once there, select the form control button and add it to your form. Rename the buttons to morning and evening. Then you can go to home and align them at the top or whichever option you feel like. Next, let's add data validation for fields like sandwich, drinks, and dietary restrictions. We'll create simple yes and no drop-down lists. You can add more options if you'd like to. You can add a simple if formula. If the answer in dietary restrictions is yes, it will pop up a message that you can manage through an if function. If the answer is no, it will leave it as it is, as blank. To finish, let's add borders to give the form a clean, structured look. We'll gray out any non-essential cells to highlight the form area. Outside the form, list all the fields vertically and link them to their corresponding input cells. You can simply do it by putting an equal to sign and selecting the right field. Let's put on some additional formatting, like for the entry field, entry time. Let's remove the gray out section and remove the grid lines of the form to stand it out. To format the radio button, in the entry time field, select any one of the check button, go to format control. In the cell value, select the cell next to our input. Now you can see if you select or deselect the radio button, it will give you a condition of either 1 or 2. Taking that 1 or 2, we can write our simple if formula, that if it is 2, it will show as evening, otherwise it will show as morning input. I have renamed my sheet to form. The next I will open a new sheet with the data, and there will be another sheet for raw input. Now copy all the fields you have mentioned outside the form. Go to data sheet, paste special, only the values, and make sure to transpose it and do necessary editing. This will be your master data sheet where the input will come from your form submission. Now comes the automation part. Let's go to the developer app, select record macro. Now everything you do, the system will start recording every and each step of yours in the Excel. You can name this macro as automate, since we are going to automate our input. Select all the inputs from the form sheet, go to the raw sheet, copy it, special, transpose it, only the values. This will be overwritten by the system every time you will do a new entry in the form. So now you will copy from here again, go to the data sheet. Here we will not do a simple copy. Instead, we will go to home, insert copy cells, and we will select push down, shift press down. So this means that the new record will push the old record down, so it will not overwrite your previous record. Now go back to the form, delete the input fields within the form to make space for the new entry. By doing this, our macro record has completed. Now you can go back to the developer option and press on stop recording. There is another button along with record macro. It's called macros, and it will list down all the macros you have maintained within this workbook or all the open workbooks. Here you can see there is an option to run a macro directly, but since it would take time going every time to developer option, going to macros and then clicking on run. So what we need to do is we will create a button and assign this macro to that button. So for that you need to go to again to developer option, insert, and insert a button. Place it somewhere within your form. Automatically the system will ask you to assign the macro, the only macro you have, to assign it to this button, or if you want you can change the assignment also. Rename the button. That's it, our work here is done. Now let's do a test data in the form and see if this button or the macro works. So I'll just quickly input all the fields in the form and we'll see how it works. Now once you will press the submit data button, it will refresh this form to blank and your data will go to your data sheet and will push the old record down and the new data will come on top. Here you can see. You can do additional formatting or editing if you want as per your need. Also you can go to the form and hide those columns where you have mentioned the input fields from where the data is getting populated into the data sheet, and there you go.